time, taking time out of your day today. We are going to go over our current walkthrough form that we have here at ECC, and then you're gonna help me redesign a new walkthrough form, because it's good to go over those things every once in a while and just kind of reevaluate. And teachers and instructional coaches and principals, staff is our most valuable asset that we have here at ECC. And so we want to just go over those things. So, and all of you also, we have kids, we have grandkids in the district, and so that also helps. And we also have newer teachers, we have more seasoned teachers, and people who've been here for just a very long time in different roles, so that really helps as well. So, so what we're here to do, our purpose and vision this morning is we're going to reevaluate the walkthrough form. And so when we're looking at walkthroughs are less formative, obviously, than the t-test when we're going through classrooms. And we're looking at data, we're looking at, it's less to judge the teacher, but really to more get input on what's going on in the classrooms. So we're looking for instructional growth in the classrooms, we're looking for trends. And so if Rebecca goes into a room and then goes in another room and she's maybe seeing some trends like, hey, we're not all hitting math, that is good information, right? Or if we're doing math really well, but we're not doing phonics really well, maybe that's something that we need to address in the PD later on in the year. So that gives good formative data. So it's less about judging teachers, and it's more about getting good informational feedback. And so it's feedback that really is going to improve our practice as teachers. And so we want to see what's going on in the classroom. And so really the whole purpose of walkthroughs, and they should be happening not just like once a year, but really like all the time. And we know that Ms. Bays and Ms. Carnathan come in our classrooms all the time just for, generally they're not really formal, they're very informal, as we all know. But really it's to improve our instruction, and really it's all about the kids. It's not about saying this is what you have to do better to make you a better teacher, but it's really this is to improve our teaching to help the kids. And that's really what it's all about here at ECC. So what should a strong walkthrough process do for our teachers and our students? So what do you think that a strong walkthrough should do for our teachers and for our students?
I think a walkthrough just allows us to grow. We all have room for growth, so even your veteran teachers, your new teachers, we can all learn from each other. So when I go in to do a walkthrough, I am looking at what are the questions that are being asked, what are the students doing, are they prepared using the curriculum, and then when we meet for our PLC meetings, we can share that out. So I think it just, like you said, it just helps with growth. We all have areas to grow, so.
Very good. Anybody else?
It also is like a vertical to make sure that all students are getting the same education.
That tier 1 instruction.
Yeah, that tier 1 instruction, yeah.
Very good. Y'all?
I would say that if someone's struggling in an area and you're doing walkthroughs and another teacher's doing it more successful or whatever, then you could say, hey, why don't you go and observe them? Or you could ask yourself, say, I'm struggling in this area, who could I go and watch to see, how to implement it better
So
for the students.
teachers helping other teachers too. Very good. Very good. So that's a great place to start, I think. So next on your agenda, so that's why we're here. So number 3, we're going to look at our campus context. And so you have what's called the TAPER report right here. And so this is called the Texas Academic Performance Report. That's a fancy name for the TAPER report. And so this gives us some data on how many kids we have, how many economically disadvantaged kids. You've probably seen this in other contexts that's been given out in our PLCs. We've looked at this a little bit, but also if you keep going, it also shows sort of some data on teachers. And so it shows how many, if you go to the 3rd page, so it shows how many teachers have by ethnicity, and it shows how many teachers we have. Obviously, we have all female teachers here. How many teachers have bachelors, how many have masters, and then if you look at the bottom, I think this is pretty interesting, teachers by years of experience. And so do you think this is helpful to know when we're doing walkthroughs?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because your more experienced teachers are going to have more resources, tips and tricks that you can share with the others.
Yeah, I think so too. So we have 12 teachers, really 14, because I would count the beginning teachers. That's less than a year of experience right there. So that would be 14 teachers with less than 5 years of experience. And so 14 out of, what is it, 33? Yeah, so that's almost half. So I think that's a really good place if you're doing a walkthrough to recognize and look at. And so and it's also on the last page there. So I think this is helpful when you're looking at that. And then also going back to the first page, we have 261 economically disadvantaged students. And so we know that part of being a good teacher is teaching to all the students, right? And recognizing their cultural background, their ethnic background. And so, is there anything that stands out to you in this data?
I didn't realize we had so many 5 and under, because usually if you can make 5 years, you usually stay in the career. 5 and under, that's your make or break years.
Yeah.
And it's harder than when I started. I mean, the kids are a lot harder, the parents are a lot harder. So.
Yeah.
I think too, though, we have 14 that are 5 years and under.
Yeah.
And so 16, so we have a little, like 3 in between, but 16 that are over 11 years. But we have a lot to learn from the new ones
Yeah.
too. You know, like going through school, we did the Fountas and Pinnell curriculum. So for reading and how to do reading groups that way. Where now, you know, it's more about that phonemic awareness and that phonics and applying that. So you do have a lot to learn from the new ones too. So going back to those walkthroughs, we have a lot to learn from them as well. So
Yeah, and I think new teachers too bring an energy to school too that sometimes some of the older ones are like, oh, I'm just here, you know, because that's part of classroom culture too, right?
Yes.
Is are you engaging with the students? And the younger ones do a really good job with engaging sometimes and making those connections. Not that older ones don't, but they have the energy, I think. So very good. Very good. All right. So are there any instructional priorities that this data suggests for our campus? Like, are we looking at, do you see anything in the students that you think should be an instructional priority if you're looking at economically disadvantaged? We see Title I, homeless, at risk. We have 111 at risk.
So I just think having those high quality instructional materials available, making sure that they have the resources they need, because if they're economically disadvantaged, or even Title I, we have 111 at risk. We just need to make sure that we are bringing in high quality instructional materials and giving that Tier 1 instruction, making sure that we are exposing them to that vocabulary, and just helping them to make connections that they may not get being in these, you know, labeled as
Yes.
disadvantaged. So
I think because we have so many, I
And to
think
connect.
that's really more so important, because you know that they're not getting that higher vocabulary probably at home, because maybe parents are working 2 jobs and siblings are maybe having to, you know, take care for them. And we know from the research that that's what's going to make them a better reader. So,
It's the high vocabulary.
yeah.
And then for the walkthrough, I think making sure that that's being implemented consistently
Yes.
across the board.
Yes.
So that one class is doing it well, another class is doing it well, the other class, and then we don't have half and half or 3/4 and, you know, 1/4, you know, not doing it well. So yeah, I think that's great. All right, so let's move on to our current walkthrough form, which is the first one you have here. And I'll give you a second to kind of look over it, because I know you 3 might not be familiar with it. And then what do you think, after you've looked over it for a minute, what do you think is working well with this form? Or what might feel redundant or not clear? Or what data might we be collecting that we don't need, or what should we be having on this form? I mean, I know there's a lot, and maybe is it too much on this form? What do you think? And you can, again, feel free to mark things out. Got yours?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a lot.
Because when they walk through, they might not be seeing all of these things. They might just be seeing, because if we're doing daily 5, like they might not see, that's not a good example. Like if they're watching math, we might not have that technology.
Right.
during that.
Because we've got Move On It now, and Move On It doesn't really implement. We've got all those manipulatives now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with Becca. If I had to do a walkthrough with this, I would be,
It's hard to know where
Too
to,
much to read. It
It's-
is too much.
I would wanna stay for 45 minutes so I could see
Check
what.
it all off.
Mhm.
yeah. I do like on the back how it has lesson format. Like, was it whole group, small group, partnered, or individual?
And maybe it might be that you're going in just looking for student engagement, so I
Right.
would just focus on this
Oh,
area
yeah.
and circle that, but,
Yeah.
I do like the strengths.
it's a lot.
I like this, cause you could go in with this first and look for this, and
There's
then
that.
check off what it hit here
Yeah.
on the front.
And I do like the depth of knowledge. Like, is this teacher just asking like yes or no questions? Because I think that's important.
Cause that's
Um,
gonna connect with the tier 1 instruction.
Yeah, are we just saying like, hey Billy, did you like this
Right.
book? Yes or no? And that's different from a teacher saying, well, if this book had another page, how would you, what do you think it would say? That's, that's a higher level.
And you could see if they were scaffolding
Yeah,
that,
are
because
they-
you know, all these are important, if you were
Yes.
having to scaffold it, that would give you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they struggling, with those, the blooms and this is the doc, I guess, but yeah, I do like that because you can kind of see, because if you come in one day, and it might be that they're just doing a lesson where it might just be, but, if you're consistently coming in and saying, okay, we're struggling getting past level 1,
Mm-hmm.
that might be, then you're sort of documenting that on here.
Right.
So maybe try circling what you like and crossing out some things that you don't like. I do like, the classroom environment. I think that's important. Like, are routines and procedures evident? Positive behavior reinforced. Like, these are great. Like, that's something you could check off real quick. Is time being used effectively? Like, are these big gaps happening during transitions? That's really important, I think, for our grade level.
Yeah, because the more downtime, the more problems you're gonna have.
Right. And the culture, I really like the culture. That's super important. But yeah, I think some of this,
See, I think the technology needs to be taken off.
I would take off 300 assessments
yes.
for a walkthrough.
Mhm. I like the student engagement. And I like too that it says most students are authentically engaged. Like, we're not tallying like, okay, there's just one student, because obviously we know, especially in kindergarten, right, there's gonna be.
And maybe it could just be that one, where you just have that one, those students are.
Right, I mean, I feel like we all have,
Oh, yeah,
But just,
yeah.
but just have that as a quick check.
yeah, like a quick check. Most of them are, standards posted and referenced, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I actually put a check by that, not, that it's not necessary, and I think lesson plans being available, if I were to walk in for a walkthrough, I don't need your
Yeah.
lesson plans, especially because we've gone over planning and PLCs,
Yeah.
so I just want to, I should know from that planning and, you know, what it is y'all are doing, and from being in all of the classrooms, trying to, you know, we're seeing similar things, so I don't think it's necessary that lesson plans are available for a walkthrough.
And then the standards posted are really
Yeah.
age appropriate for
Mm-mm,
our kids.
no. And you know, those questions posted and referenced during lessons, that to me is just part of you're being prepared, so how you,
Yeah.
Have
I
a
don't
sticky
think it's,
note, you don't have to have it
I don't
all
think it has
posted.
to necessarily be posted.
Yeah, maybe referenced,
Mhm.
but,
On that one, my main thing would just be that the instruction aligns with the lesson plans, which are your TEKs.
yeah, so instruction. Yeah, so feel free to mark it up.
And the data for the under differentiated instruction, the data used to guide planning, I wouldn't look for that in a walkthrough.
In a walkthrough, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
same.
something you're gonna, is that something we talk about again in PLCs?
Mhm.
Like yeah, cause how would you even know that?
Right.
Like, excuse me, have you used your data?
And even,
Let me interrupt
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
flexible fluid grouping to me could go along with differentiation.
Yeah.
Because I'm differentiating my groups based off of their needs.
And the teacher knows that
Mhm.
Yeah.
more so than the.
Right.
mhm.
So I don't feel like
And I
You
feel like
need
that's
that
something
and
that
just-
goes,
differentiation is occurring, you know,
Yeah,
occurring could
yeah.
be, you know, sufficient.
And sometimes that differentiation just looks like it in the questioning.
Mhm. Yeah, and that content, process, product, like, are they differentiating the content, the process, or product? Like, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's, because again, if your goal is to see trends across the classroom, or to see weak spots, or to see strengths, or like, I don't know that that was necessarily gonna help you to gather that data. And to get high quality instruction, I don't know that that would be more of a T-test, I feel like. Data capture than a walkthrough data capture, but, okay, so that's a good place to start. Moving on, I've given you some other examples of some walkthrough forms, which you can look at. I kind of picked 3 examples that I thought were,
This is a lot.
yes, different. So this one you can kind of tell is very long. But there's good things from each of them that you can kind of look over. This one's kind of longer, this one's somewhere in the middle, and this one's from the Reading Academies is pretty short. But I kind of, there's some things from each of them that I liked. And so if there's things that you like, what are some things that you might find useful from these that would contribute, you think, to maybe a new walkthrough form? So what elements maybe do you like? What elements do you think would support instructional conversations? Because we're not looking for compliance. Again, we're not looking to say like, hey, you did this great, you did this terribly. That's not the point of walkthroughs.
Mhm.
It's to improve instructional practice. So what do you like off of these forms that maybe we could take? I heard a quote that I really like, that teachers are the best thieves.
Mhm.
And I really like that because, meaning teachers are the best borrowers of each other, and I like that because we should be. So there were some, I really kind of like this one. It's very simple, but reviews process and reviews previous learning. So, you know, we're saying like, this is what we did yesterday. And do you remember what we did yesterday? But you're building upon that, like, previous knowledge. We're talking about, like, this is what we're learning today. Today we're talking about taking things away, you know, and so you're prepping them. You know, I like this one. Limits the amount of new information to be taught, so we're not teaching 10 different things. I struggled with this when I started teaching, especially in ELA. I wanted to teach all the TEKS in one day. Provided examples, non-examples, in student engagement, paces instruction, checking for understanding as we're going, provides corrective feedback, and reteaches when necessary. Now this might be oversimplification, but there's a lot in here that I like, that because you can really quickly in a walkthrough, you're like boom, boom, boom.
I think the comment section should be bigger so that you can
Yes.
add more, but
Yeah.
that's a good
What you saw,
place to start.
Yeah,
the evidence.
yes, because you have to have evidence. Anything else you guys like or don't like on any of these forms? I saw you circling some things over there.
Yeah, I just, the vocabulary, student-friendly explanations, and that explicit vocabulary instruction. A lot of times we'll just start with, what do you think that means? Where really, you should tell them and give them an example or a non-example.
Right.
But vocabulary is just huge, for making connections and picturing what's happening and just, increasing their comprehension. So I like the vocabulary on this kindergarten reading one. I like the engagement, I like to see if the students are engaged. Are their materials, accessible and organized? Is something that would stick out to me. And that goes back to just being prepared and, but having those materials, like we were talking about earlier.
Very good.
I like how we were saying, I like the comment box, cause I wanna know like exactly like what I need to improve on, or,
As a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps because because we do get a formal walkthrough, right? In DMAC, and so when you get that, when you're scored in that area, you wanna know like, hey, what do I need to improve on? Yeah, because we should be all about improving again, for the sake of improving our instruction or student improvement, right? It's all about students. What do you like about this one? Or what don't you like about this one? Is there something that you like, or? I kind of like this one, because it was sort of in the middle of the other two.
I feel like it would be quick.
Yes.
Just a quick one to just go and check.
Yes, so, I like this one because, but there is no comments. Yeah, that was the drawback on there.
I don't like using some form of technology.
Yeah,
After all the research that's come out with students, kids and technology, and we're all gonna use technology in teaching because
Right.
that's just
But
our error.
it shouldn't be a mandate necessarily for every single
Right.
lesson. Because every single lesson
That's
doesn't
right.
necessarily need it.
That's right.
I think all of these are great, but when you go back to a walkthrough, and what is the purpose of the walkthrough? They're quick, it's quick feedback, so all of this information makes me think more of like a T-test observation, on several of these. So for a walkthrough, you want something to be quick, you want to give that feedback quickly, but really, are they prepared with the lesson? Are those students engaged and actively learning? What are some of the questions they're asking? Do I see differentiation? And that may look different, so I just wanna know, do I see differentiation? And then in the comment section, I could say something about what I see. Is the teacher, are they using that gradual release with their teaching and like that scaffolding and modeling? And then just knowing your students, and it's very evident very quickly
Yeah.
if those things are happening. So I feel like,
So
Two blows
more
in a
like,
row.
yeah, it's a very, walkthroughs are quick.
so more like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right, because And you would say walkthrough would be like 10 minutes?
If even
15.
that, I mean, sometimes I can walk in and see what I'm looking for very quickly, or, you know, just checking in. But, and a
Right.
lot of, with our PLC meetings, we have a lot of conversation that way too, so, but yeah, walkthroughs are just, they're quick, informal. This is very formal to me.
Very good.
You'd spend more of your time reading it,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
this one and not watching the class.
Yes,
yeah.
I agree. 'Cause
Did I see that? Did I not see that?
Yeah.
Right.
You have to go back, and then I feel like you may forget,
I would have to take notes of just what I observing.
like a verbatim.
And then when I walked out, I could look to see what box
Yeah, to check them.
that fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so what are some absolute like must-haves? You kind of just said your must-haves were, are they prepared? Are they actively learning? Are they organized? Gradual release.
Classroom management.
So you would, yeah, like classroom management.
Because if you don't have good management, it's hard to teach in chaos.
Yeah.
And other
Yeah.
kids don't like it either, so.
And holding them to those expectations,
Yes.
but that can also be with being prepared, so yeah, that classroom management is huge.
And the tier 1 instruction.
Tier 1, yeah. And what specifically, when you look into, like we say tier 1, but what are you specifically looking for specifically?
Well, because I've been trained in high quality
Yes.
instructional materials, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of a, and the
Well, how would you-
research-based instructional strategies
Yes.
that the state of Texas bases their high quality, it's gonna be that higher vocabulary.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to be teaching above, like in reading, you know, above the reading
So
level.
not just lecturing,
No,
more,
questioning, higher level
Facilitating,
questioning.
And just making sure all students are exposed
Getting
to
it,
that,
yes.
to that higher level questioning and instruction, so.
And then for the foundational side, because you've got your reading and then you've got your foundational side, I would be looking for the systematic explicit to see if they're following that tier 1 instruction program that we bought.
Yeah.
And if they're using all the components with it.
they're following the
They're
curriculum.
following the curriculum because it's been vetted by,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we have that instructional list.
Anything else that you two think that we haven't mentioned?
I guess relationships.
Yeah.
too. Look through like classroom management, classroom culture. type thing.
I agree.
Yeah, cause you can tell by the interaction with the teacher and the students if they have that relationship.
Because they can have really good, I feel like classroom management, but their students can be scared.
Yeah.
You know, they're like,
Mhm.
I walk into a classroom sometimes and those kids are just like, you know.
I like the routines and procedures to
Yeah.
be, so they know where to find
Yeah.
everything in the room,
And you want them to be independent, so.
Yes.
very much so.
Mhm.
Yes.
Very good. All right, so I will take the information that you've given me and thank you. This was all wonderful feedback, and I'm going to create a new walkthrough form that I'll share with you. And I appreciate you meeting with me today and taking the time out of your schedule. So have a great day, and I'll get back with you soon.